The WWF, what the world is watching. Turn it on and rip the knob off.
Guys, and welcome back to the Wrestling Memory Grenade. Now at episode 174. I am indeed Ray Russell, and this marks the beginning. It is the definitive edition of the WWF's Royal Rumble 1989. We're going to break this thing down beginning to end, upside down, inside out, and round and round. Boy, we've got a lot to get into this week looking at the pay-per-view. Can you believe it? It all started way back in this late 80s project. We began with the beginning of 1987. Actually, we took a deep dive into 86 to get to 87. And the very first big event that we covered here as part of the current project was WrestleMania 3. Wow, feels like just a few weeks ago we did this. It's been a few years ago now. But here we go. We are now in the year of 1989 and the first ever pay-per-view edition of the Royal Rumble event. I can't wait to get into it. But first, I just want to thank everybody out there in the social media world who sent me the birthday wishes over this past weekend. I do share my birthday with one Vince McMahon pal, and I used to be able to say that with pride, or at least somewhat pride, and now not so much. But another birthday in the books as I continue through my mid-40s here. But that's all right, because that means I was alive for this, the Royal Rumble 89 event. Can't wait to get into it with you here. And after a successful debut last year on the USA Network, the WWF would return with the Royal Rumble, now part of their 1989 pay-per-view lineup. A couple of things to note here. First, when the Rumble match was introduced in 88, there were only 20 wrestlers involved in the match. But by the second installment here in 89, the number increased to the more traditional 30-man match that we've become accustomed to over the years. The WWF going all in on this match being not only the main event of the show, but a big enough spectacle to draw in the fans for pay-per-view. Now, another important thing to note here is that until 1992, all of the prior Rumble matches were purely for bragging rights and a big paycheck, if you will. No world titles on the line, no world title shots were involved here for WrestleMania season, which meant anybody truly could win the Royal Rumble match. Now, I understand the argument that the match needed more oomph, if you will, long-term, to draw the interest to the pay-per-view, to the matchup. But up front, just winning the match was enough for me as a kid. Personally, I particularly enjoyed the aspect of the first several years. I thought it made things more unpredictable, more exciting. Much like, say, King of the Ring, anybody could win the Royal Rumble, and it could also make a launching pad for stars to be elevated, had they chose to go that route, brother. But as we've all heard, the Royal Rumble match said to be Pat Patterson's baby, his idea, and as discussed in the 1987 WWF project a long while back, the Rumble was actually tested out at a house show in St. Louis back in the fall of 87, a few months before the 1988 USA special even aired. But that would simply act as a feeling out process to get this project off the ground. And as we discussed in the past, Vince McMahon scoffed at the convoluted rules of this Royal Rumble match. But it was one NBC visionary named Dick Ebersol who gave Pat Patterson the green light to try out the event on USA. And the rest, as they say, was history. It was this year, 1989 Royal Rumble, where we would begin to see things develop into one of the most anticipated events each year. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the 1989 Royal Rumble.
Hulk Hogan! Bad News Brown! Axe and Smash Demolition! Hakeem the African Dream! The Red Rooster! And Jake the Snake Roberts! Luke and Butch the Bushwhackers! Greg the Hammer Valentine! Andre the Giant! Rick Martel, the Rockers, Big John Studd, and the Honky Tonk Man, Rugged Ronnie Garvin, and the Brain Busters, Tito Santana, and the Powers of Pain, the Big Boss Man, and Coco Beware, Hercules, Outlaw Ron Bass, Mr. Perfect, Brutus the Barber, the $1 Million Man, the Macho Man, Randy Savage, all participating in the Royal Rumble.
All right, it is time to rumble. It's time for the Royal Rumble. January 15th, 1989, Houston, Texas at the Summit, 4 p.m. Eastern Bell Time. Now, once upon a time, Paul Bosch country. Since that time, WWF World attendance here looks like a sold-out 19,000 strong in the arena. We'll get to the buy rate of the pay-per-view much later on after we talk about the event. But wow, here we go. 19,000 fans. They are live, and we are kicking, guys. As you heard the opening there, the WWF, what the world is watching. And they truly were watching during this Mega Power era. The pay-per-view opening with a video displaying the 30 men involved in tonight's main event. We heard Vince McMahon rattle off the names, an opening that would debut this year, but become synonymous with Rumble intros for the next several years to come. It gives you all the feels, as they say today. And our announcers, as always, looks like it's Gorilla Monsoon and Jesse the Body Ventura right here on pay-per-view. And it wouldn't be a pay-per-view without Gorilla informing us all that this is indeed a happening. It's a happening, Jess. Now, I've said it before, and it bears repeating. I thought Jesse Ventura was the perfect foil for Vince McMahon on TV, be it Superstars or Saturday night's main event. No doubt Gorilla and Bobby were a star team on Wrestling Challenge and even more so primetime wrestling, but when you got Gorilla and Jesse together for the pay-per-views, everything just felt so important. And the two men run down the card here at the top of the program, quick fashion, as we head to ringside for our opening bout involving 6-man tag team action. And as we cut to the ring, we even see the Royal Rumble banner high atop the arena, rocking, yes, literally hanging from the rafters is the Royal Rumble banner, swaying back and forth, giving you the sense of the building rocking, pumped and ready for action these fans are as we go to the ring. Opening match, as I said, 6-man tag, 2 out of 3 falls. Hacksaw Jim Duggan teaming with Bret the Hitman Hart, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, the Hart Foundation, their opponents, the Canadian strongman Dino Bravo, and the fabulous Rougeau brothers, Jacques and Raymond, with both managers Frenchie Martin and Jimmy Hart in their corner. So we're starting out with some fun here this week. 2 feuds come together for this one big match to open the show. 2 out of 3 falls, a rarity in the WWF world, or anywhere by 1989 for that matter. This would become the staple of Rumble pay-per-views moving forward, a tag match to kick off the show. And whether it was a mix of comedy and fun like in 1990 with the Bushwhackers and Rougeaus, or quality encounters from 1991 to 1993, of course, the Rockers and the Orient Express, the New Foundation and the Orient Express, and the Steiner brothers and the Beverly brothers. Seeing these tag teams showcased at the top of the Rumble pay-per-view always got me in the mood. Right out of the gate, the energy, the excitement, the hot crowds, it all started here in 1989. Now, the 2 feuds going on here, of course, are Hacksaw Duggan and Dino Bravo, USA versus Canada, or more specifically, Quebec, Canada. The Stars and Stripes versus the Fleur de Lis. They've been having flag matches on the house shows that we've been talking about. And now they bring what will become their never-ending feud to pay-per-view. Of course, we've also talked about the Harts, Rougeaus, Jimmy Hart situation for months now on the house shows. The storyline going, the Hart Foundation firing Jimmy Hart shortly after WrestleMania 4, though Jimmy reminding them that, "You're under contract, baby." So even though Jimmy Hart wasn't ringside for their matches afterwards, he was still collecting 25% of the Hart's pay. Wow, that's a big contract. From there, Jimmy Hart acquired a brand new tag team under his wing, the recently heel Rougeau brothers. Fabulous Rougeau brothers. Jimmy Hart would add insult to injury when he gifted his 25% of the Hart Foundation's contract to Jacques and Raymond. How dare he? Which means, win or lose, the Rougeaus were making money off the Hart's matches. That's got to sting. Jimmy Hart would go on to say that he taught the Rougeaus all of the Hart Foundation's strengths and their weaknesses. As the feud has continued on throughout the fall of 1988 into 1989 now, of course, the Rougeaus also recently announcing they have finally made the move. They bought a house in Memphis, Tennessee, making them America's latest adoptive sons. Yes, the Rougeau brothers are indeed now all American boys. Oh, baby. Well, with that out of the way, the crowd is hot, craving the action, so this match already scorching before it even starts. Jim Neidhart removing the Hitman shades in the corner, and the Anvil looks to start this one off with Dino Bravo. And it begins. Fall number 1, the Anvil and Dino Bravo in the ring. We get a lot of irresistible force meeting immovable object stuff to start, kind of colliding in the center ring, neither man budging. Neidhart gets the best of Bravo, though, with a clothesline, although the Anvil missing an elbow. Dino jumping up to deliver his own elbow, but misses as well, allowing Neidhart to tag in Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Ho! The crowd goes nuts as Dino Bravo immediately scurrying away to his corner to tag in Ray Rougeau into the matchup. Dino Bravo running and hiding from Hacksaw, doesn't want any part of him early on, but the night is young as we hear Duggan begin the USA chants with the fans. And the crowd here in Houston, remembering Duggan fondly from his days in the old UWF and Houston promotions, but starting a USA chant, Duggan forgets the Rougeaus are now Americans, if you will, and thus the fans are technically chanting for both men in the ring. As Duggan hits Raymond with a spinning slam and an Old Glory knee drop, Hacksaw already down to one move left in his arsenal. So he makes the tag out to the Hitman. In comes the excellence of execution. Brett with a series of quick near falls on Ray before Jacques finally tagged into the matchup. Jacques Rougeau gains control, but he gets cute and eats a clothesline for his troubles. From there, all three heels are thrown into the corner, same corner, stacked vertically, if you will, and the baby faces assisting the Anvil and shoulder blocking the lot of them. Down go all the heels as the referee gets the baby faces back out of the ring. Raymond Rougeau going to pull down the top rope from the outside. Bret Hart taking a nasty bump over the top out to the floor. The Hitman then thrown back inside as he walks into Dino Bravo's patented side suplex, Jess. But the heel's not done yet. Following that up with Le Bombe des Rougeaux, or now the Rougeau Bomb. They are Americans, I suppose. So two finishers back-to-back, the side suplex and the Rougeau Bomb, going to get the win. First fall here in only 4 minutes and 22 seconds. Bret Hart doing the job. Now, it was a quick fall, but the never-ending motion in the ring, the fast pace allowed them to get a lot in that 4:22. As Gorilla Monsoon informing us, the men who finished fall number 1 must start fall number 2, and that's a typical rule here. So we begin fall number 2 with the heels up, 1 fall to none. So Bret continues to take the heat as the Rougeaus wearing him down in the middle of the ring. The Rougeaus do some all-American illegal switching in the ring, some patriotic hair pulling to boot. Whatever it takes to work over the Hitman for a few minutes here, the Rougeaus are doing it all. Dino Bravo finally tags back in, looks to try a clothesline, which appears to barely graze the top of Hart's head. And the Hitman not really sure how to sell it, so he stumbles forwards into the ropes. That was a bad spot, Dino. Jacques Rougeau back in, applying the Boston Crab as Bret going to crawl his way out and make the tag to Jim Neidhart. However, the referee distracted by Brother Raymond missing the tag, forcing the Hitman to remain in the ring. As the Rougeaus then with an assisted abdominal stretch, and at this point in the matchup, the heels have to have used every heel tactic in the book. Nice solid heel work here from the Rougeau brothers and company. Jacques going for a monkey flip out of the corner, but the Hitman finally going to counter, hold on to the top rope, turn it into an inverted atomic drop. Down goes Jacques Rougeau, and Bret Hart finally able to make the hot tag. And in comes Hacksaw. Gets the tag and works over all three French-Canadians, or French-American Canadians, and Dino Bravo, of course. Duggan lays out Raymond and slingshots the Anvil in over the top rope with a splash down onto Ray. Neidhart staying on top in a cover position on Raymond as referee Joey Morella confused and starts to make the count. But Duggan is the legal man, Joey. So the Anvil rolls out of the way and Duggan then slingshots the Hitman in over the top rope onto Raymond with another splash. Sort of. Bret kind of overshot it a little, but I love what they're doing here. Nice teamwork by the babyface side. Neidhart's slingshot splash always looked awesome. The Hitman, not so much. Maybe not so excellently executed. Just saying, Bret. Meanwhile, After 2 big slingshot splashes, Duggan going to finish Ray off with a big elbow drop for good measure, make the cover, and the Hart Foundation and Duggan going to get a pinfall here over Brother Ray. The Rougeaus, Dino Bravo, go down 7 minutes, 24 seconds of the second fall. Total time around 12 minutes at this point in the matchup. Both teams now even at 1 fall apiece. As the action continues on, we get a quick breather, and Duggan remaining in with Raymond Rougeau to start fall number 3. But quickly, Hacksaw finds himself in the heel corner, as now Dino Bravo going to get his heat on Duggan for the first time in the match, all the way to the 3rd fall. Classic heel stuff there. The heel's going to triple team Hacksaw in their corner, choking him, holding him, tripping him down. Good heel teamwork here all throughout this matchup. Dino Bravo with an inverted atomic drop on Duggan, but Hacksaw falls near his corner and manages to tag out to the Hitman, as Bret hits Bravo with a backbreaker in the ring. But when he goes up for the elbow, up to that middle rope, that pendant Bret Hart elbow, he's shoved off by Raymond Rougeau. And from there, things going to break down. The referee losing control. All 6 men in the ring. Jim Neidhart attacking Raymond. Joey Marella sucked into that, while Bret Hart takes a bad bump off an attempted roll-up from Dino Bravo. How do you take a bad bump off of a roll-up? Only in a Dino Bravo match. Well, with Joey Marella's back turned, Duggan has enough of it all, grabs his trusty 2x4, blasting Dino Bravo over the back out of nowhere. And Bret makes the cover to get the 3rd and final fall of the matchup. The Hart Foundation, Duggan go over in just 3 minutes and 56 seconds here in fall number 3. And your winners, 2 falls to 1, the Hart Foundation and Hacksaw Duggan. The match goes roughly 16 minutes here of in-ring action. Well, that finish seemed abrupt. Duggan with the 2x4, just as chaos broke out. But I guess after 15 plus minutes of dealing with these heel tactics, it was time to return the favor here. The babyfaces go over, celebrating on their way out of the ring. Great way to kick off the pay-per-view. The fans loving it. The action flowed, and the good guys went over. The crowd is happy. Now, as for the match itself, I felt personally 2 of the falls kind of rushed. Could have went a little longer. But the 2 things that stood out to me most, 1, great heel teamwork, especially by the Rougeau brothers. It wasn't anything out of the ordinary, but you just don't see good heel teamwork anymore, and these guys used every page in the book throughout this match. Great stuff there from the Rougeaus and, yes, even Dino Bravo. And 2, my other takeaway, the story the match told was absolutely perfect. They started off hot with the babyfaces dominating most of the first fall before Hart dumped over the top rope, thrown back in, and landing 2 finishers on the Hitman, which led to Bret Hart playing face in peril for the second fall, and the heels doing a great job of getting heat on the Hitman. Then we saw the hot tag to Jim Duggan, all the baby faces getting involved in the finish, and things are even up, 1 fall apiece. A rushed final fall again, but still perfectly executed by design. We finally get Dino Bravo in the ring with Jim Duggan. And as crappy as that would be to watch, they made sure to give it to us at the end and for a short period of time. Keep that in mind. Dino Bravo gets the cowardly heel advantage on Duggan in the heel corner. Bret Hart going to be tagged in. Things go a little haywire, and Hacksaw pays Bravo back for his team cheating, as I said, the entire matchup, with the 2x4 to the back of one Dino Bravo. And I'll be straight with you guys. This match, it never sucked, but truly the only fall that felt like it wasn't rushed was the second fall, which went 7.5 minutes. And I should note here, it's just something I caught, that the Anvil was only in the match once legally. He only tagged in one time. Now, he did a couple other spots, but the Anvil only in for fall number 1. He started off the matchup and never in again. Started the match, and I thought that was a shame because during this period, Jim Neidhart was really on fire as a babyface, given the short time this 3-fall match was given. But I get that they didn't have a whole lot of time left to work Neidhart in there more, trying to fit this into the pay-per-view time slot. Now, that said, while I do feel the Harts and Rougeaus could have done a lot more to make this match a more memorable jewel, the short time forced the guys to work at a faster pace, and it did keep the fans really hot. Enjoyable opener for sure, so says Ray Russell anyway, for whatever good that is. But that's just kicking things off there, guys. Hot action, 6-man tag team action, babyface is going over. And now we take a trip to the backstage area, where we're going to see several of the wrestlers begin to pull their numbers for the upcoming Royal Rumble match.
Well, the time has finally arrived for the $1 million hand to pick the $1 million number. And the winning number is... wait a minute. Slick.
Hey, what's up, man? What's up,
Slickster,
brother?
listen, I got a question for you. When you picked your numbers for your voice today, were you happy with it?
Brother, unbelievable.
That happy, huh?
Hey, man, exactly.
Well, let's go talk this over. I got something to talk to you about. That's real important.
What's up, man?
Gentlemen, excuse me. Gentlemen.
Stop it. That's plenty right there. Let me get my... Yeah! Hey! Yes! I got a bloody beaut, mate. Oh, mine's a bloody good one too, Luke. You want to swap, mate? Let's swap, mate. Oh, yeah! Oh! Stop it right now.
It's good news for bad news.
Stop this thing right now.
Come on, you geek. Looks like I'm gonna have a long night.
Me too.
Looks good to me, huh? Let's see how we did there, fella. You gonna check this out? You want me to read it? Oh, just hope Andre's still in there when we get there.
The time is here. Stop that rolling now. Here we go.
Give me a good one here.
Oh, good luck.
Good luck, brother.
Luck of the draw, so important in the Royal Rumble. Just looked like the $1 Million Man was trying to buy a better number.
And we see some foreshadowing and some other fun things going on here. Immediately, the $1 Million Man, Ted Dibiase, standing there at the spinning tumbler to see what number he's going to draw. Gentleman in a suit standing to Teddy's left, our right, for watching the program. I suppose he's there to oversee everything is official and proper, which would be ironic given Ted Dibiase is the first one here in the video to draw a number. Teddy having Virgil open it up for him as Dibiase reaching in and not pleased with his number. Not at all. Immediately, Ted walks off camera, finds himself the Doctor of Style Slick, asking Slick if he was happy with the Twin Towers numbers that they drew earlier in the evening. Slick says, exactly, as they walk off to discuss some business. Very interesting. We know in recent weeks on TV, Dibiase has made it clear that he has no problem attempting to purchase a higher number. Could Akeem or the Big Boss Man have the number Dibiase wants? We'll have to wait and see. We also see the Bushwhackers, Luke and Butch, go to pick their numbers. And Luke actually breaks the tumbler off of the spinning rod. Literally, go check it out. Get a little overzealous there, Bushwhacker Luke breaking the tumbler, as both men seem to like their numbers. So they have the great idea of swapping their number. Let's swap, mate! Is that legal? Right in front of this official? Well, I won't spoil it for you guys, but I will say that one of these Bushwhackers lied to the other one. One draws an early number, the other a late number. Could it be the guy who asked to swap numbers? Well, maybe these Bushwhackers are a little smarter than you guys give them credit for. We also heard a loud, upset sound made by the Honky Tonk Man, who doesn't appear to like his number very much. Meanwhile, Bad News Brown pulling out his says it's good news for bad news. We also see Jake Roberts pull his number as he hopes Andre is still in there when he gets there. Now, unless you're 30, how the hell do you know what number Andre's coming in, Jake? You hope he's still in there? I don't know, a little faux pas perhaps on the point of the Snake Man? We also see a couple more tag teams draw numbers, including Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty, the Rockers. Naturally, Shawn has to draw first, as they wish each other luck later tonight. Yeah, right. Sure you mean that, Shawn. And last but certainly not least, it's the WWF Tag Team Champions, Axe and Smash Demolition, draw their numbers and foreshadow what would happen later with this line.
Looks like I'm gonna have a long night.
Me too.
Axe stating, looks like I'm going to have a long night. Smash replies, me too. If they only knew. Long night indeed for Axe and Smash of Demolition. And as we come out of that Rolodex of promos, Jesse Ventura thinks maybe some hanky-panky went on back there with Ted DiBiase's drawing. You think, Jess? Well, we're one match down, plenty more to go. It's time to head back to the ring, this time involving the WWF Ladies Championship match. Women's champion Rockin Robin, scheduled to take on Judy Martin. Martin, a former ladies tag team champion here, no longer a glamour girl, no longer managed by Jimmy Hart, back to just her generic ring attire, but already standing in the ring, awaiting the champion. That's never good. But Judy isn't the only woman standing in the ring, it would seem, but I'll get back to that in just a minute. The champion out next, Rockin Robin. And since she's a champ, and this is a pay-per-view, Robin comes out to her brother Sam Houston's theme music. It's a shame Sam couldn't even make it as part of the 30-man cut, so they recycle his music for his sister here. Little tongue-in-cheek nod because they do not reference that. On the pay-per-view, though, Gorilla does mention that she's borrowing Sam's music, which is just kind of weird. As mentioned, though, there was a third woman standing in the ring between the champion and challenger before the match can begin. I'm talking about the Sensational Sherri in the ring to challenge the winner here of tonight's matchup, stating that she is more woman than both of the other ladies put together. Oh my. Sherri lost the title to Rockin Robin back in Paris in the fall, and she wants her belt back. Makes sense. Pretty basic storyline there. Sherri coming for the winner, the champion that coming out of the Royal Rumble, looking to regain the women's title. As it looks like the sensational one going to join Gorilla Monsoon and Jesse Ventura on commentary. Well, that's interesting. Going to do a little co-color commentary here. Sherri joining Gorilla and Jesse for this one. Rockin Robin going to start off the match with a little momentum. A couple of drop kicks in, and she runs into the knees of Judy Martin. I should add Sherri, not so good here on commentary, by the way, but I give her credit for her work with Randy Savage, Ted DiBiase, Shawn Michaels, and a lot of her WCW run, but damn, not so good here on commentary. Maybe stick to the wrestling and the managing, Sherri, who says Robin is as skinny as a bug. How harsh, Sherri. Meanwhile, Sherri's commentary isn't the only thing that's bad about the match. The women in the ring moving slow and very sloppy. Sherri even going to point it out, laughing at them on commentary. Gorilla going to politely call the ladies in the ring lethargic, just to be nice. Judy Martin going to catch a crossbody, slamming Robin down. Robin looks like she stiffs Martin with a knee, though, so Judy kicks Robin right in the chest, where her breasts would be if she had any. Just saying, guys. A few pin attempts later from both ends, Robin going to miss a drop kick and then lands hard on a failed roll-up attempt. Boy, we've got some problems with the schoolboy and the roll-ups here tonight. Basically another botch there from Robin, who barely kicks out of a clothesline, but she channels her brother. No, not Sam Houston, but rather Jake the Snake Roberts, and goes for something that looks kind of like a DDT. But she blows that too, as mentioned on commentary. Rockin Robin can't seem to slam Judy Martin, so Judy going to slam Robin instead. Everything moving in slow motion. Sloppy as all hell. I wrote in my notes, this is bad. Finally, though, they put me out of my misery. Robin going to fake a reverse body block from the middle rope. Judy ducking down, but as Martin stands back up, Robin launching herself off that middle rope. Crossbody connects and gets the win. Rockin Robin going over 624. And it looked as if Sherri would get another shot at Rockin Robin after this match. Fortunately, Robin would bomb singing, and I use that term loosely, America the Beautiful at WrestleMania 5, and she would be banned from ever appearing on WWF TV ever again. Okay, that's not really why, but it should have been. Sherri would go on to much bigger and better things in just a couple months' time. My, how things change. Nevertheless, your winner here tonight is indeed Rockin Robin. Now, as for the match, there were parts that weren't terribly bad. Then the women would just look completely lost or just going through the motions, walking through the moves. And I know Judy Martin is a veteran. She was good at what she did. We saw her in there with Leilani Kai's, the Glamour Girls, their matches with the Jumping Bomb Angels. But I don't think Robin really ever had any business in the ring at the level of the World Wrestling Federation. She was kind of just thrown in there, green as grass, as a rookie on WWF TV, something the guys would have never been able to do. Vince and company wanted her as their pet project, create a female star from scratch. And Robin had a background in the business, of course, Grizzly Smith and then Jake and Sam Houston. But she was shoved into the top-level company with very little experience. And while she's been in the business since, well, around Survivor Series 87, we saw her, she's really only had an opportunity to work maybe 2 women over the course of that year. Just not a very good match at all. And I'm honestly, if you were going to edit a match out of the Coliseum video, I don't know why this wasn't that, but I guess that would be sexism or something of that sort if that existed in 1989 world. Didn't for me, pal. Ha ha. Still doesn't from what I hear, Vince.
Relive the glory days of Memphis wrestling with the Retro Wrestling Review USWA podcast. Each week, we go back in time to review USWA Championship Wrestling from the 1990s, episode by episode. Join us for watch-alongs, behind-the-scenes stories, and exclusive interviews with people who were there and lived it. Whether you grew up watching it or you're discovering it for the first time, this podcast is your ringside seat to Memphis wrestling history. It's all a part of the WrestleCopia Podcast Network. Listen now at USWApodcast.com.
Hey guys, Ray Russell back to talk to you about all the new and exciting audio and video podcasts we've been putting together over at patreon.com/WrestleCopia. As a self-funded brand, this entire ship is powered by our patrons. It's your support that keeps all of these wonderful shows going here at WrestleCopia. And with that said, I wanted to mention that we now have 3 major tiers with tons of Patreon-exclusive next-level content for our Patreon supporters. And it all starts with the $5 all-access tier, which gets you early access to many of the weekly podcasts, at least a dozen monthly digital downloads for your viewing and reading pleasure, the insanely detailed show notes for the Wrestling Memory Grenade Regional Wrestling, and the OG Monday Warfare podcast, plus random bonus video drops, archived old-school audio watch-alongs from the early years of the brand. And if that's not all, the brand new Patreon-exclusive podcast, Ranting Raw, featuring yours truly, Ray Russell, completely uncensored, unfiltered, with honest takes, taking patron questions and addressing various topics from throughout wrestling history. It is a whole lot of fun wrapped under the all-access tier for only $5, but things get even hotter with the VIP Superfan tier. For just a few dollars more, you get everything already mentioned in the all-access tier, plus as part of the VIP tier, a whole new slew of videocast series where it's not just your typical watch-alongs. Sure, we laugh, we have fun, but we're also breaking down the history, the context, and the why behind what you're seeing. And as part of the VIP tier, you have access to Dan Gennety's Puro Resu Academy videocast, the Coliseum videocast with co-host Gene Jackson, and the Monday Warfare videocast, Raw vs. Nitro, breaking down the history of the Monday Night War. Plus, you also get the Memphis 1985 folder of goodies and all show notes for the Puro Academy podcast and Gene's retro review show. Lots to be had there at the VIP tier. But wait, there's more. For those WrestleCopia backers who crave even more from the brand, we bring you yet another level of content fit for a warrior, because it is indeed the ultimate tier, which gives you everything from the all-access pass, everything from the VIP tier, plus you will receive access to the big ones, video series featuring a lengthy look and discussion into some of the biggest pay-per-views, super shows, and other events from throughout wrestling history. It's also a great place to keep up with the big events that coincide with the Monday Warfare videocast and so many other big events from years gone by. You'll also have access to the newest big hit to the Copia brand. I'm talking about Regional Wrestling Unreal, the video series. Get ready for the next level in regional wrestling as we dissect territory history in video form. Watch along with us. But still, even more for your money, guys. You'll also receive access to the Treasure Chest, which offers patrons the unique opportunity to download and watch select rarities from wrestling history. And for those of you who are wondering what we offer, are contemplating joining a paid Patreon membership, or simply a curious lurker, a reminder there's a free tier at our Patreon that you can join as well. Remember, guys, no subscription, cancel any time, but I think you'll like the content that we're offering there for any budget you may have. And you can sign up right now, patreon.com/WrestleCopia, or look for the QR code where available. We appreciate your support in helping us pay the bills to keep the WrestleCopia Podcast Network running and enabling us to continue to bring you all the quality programming that we offer.
This is Wrestling Nostalgia, the podcast that dives into wrestling history. Hey, wrestling fans, I'm Dave Dynasty, and if you enjoy podcasts that are knowledgeable and history-driven, then Wrestling Nostalgia is for you. With great guests and fun interviews, there are over 200 episodes in our archives. We chat with several first-time guests and often cover topics not discussed on other podcasts. Look up Wrestling Nostalgia on your favorite podcast platform and visit all of our links at linktree/WrestlePod. That is linktr.ee/RASSLEPOD. And remember, wherever you go, whatever you do, be good, be safe, and keep on growing.
Well, joining me now, the Doctor of Style, Slick, and I would say two very big opportunities for the Doctor of Style, the Twin Towers here in the Royal Rumble.
Well, what you would say, brother, would be a gross understatement, because these two men have more than just excellent chances. Brother, you can believe that all the marbles are hinging on these two fine physical specimens right here.
Okay, well, Slick, I'd like to talk about the drawing that took place earlier this afternoon. Some very disturbing accusations have come out of this concerning yourself and the $1 Million Man.
Who?
The $1 Million Man.
What, man, what $1 Million Man? I haven't seen him in over a month.
Okay, with those comments, Slick, right now, I'd like for you gentlemen to look at this footage. An event that took place.
What footage?
Well, an event that took place, an incident that took place during the drawing this afternoon. I'm sure you gentlemen would like to look at it too. Let's roll it.
What you talking about, man?
Now, Slick, can you explain that?
Oh, yeah, brother, why, certainly. You see, I misunderstood what you said, Holmes. You mean that, Ted Dibiase? I thought you was talking about homeboy Ted where I get my shoes shined. But it's none of your business anyway, and you stay out of my business. And anyway, look at these two men right here, brother. I've got the greatest commodity in professional wrestling. That's it, the Twin Towers.
There you have it from the Dr. Style, Slick, and the Twin Towers. Back to you, Gorilla and Jesse.
All right, Sean Mooney doing the hard work there, asking the Slickster about his meeting earlier with the $1 Million Man. Slick saying that he doesn't know what Sean is talking about, brother. Mooney, though, going to show Slick the footage from earlier. Can't deny it now, Doctor of Style. Slick's response, oh, you mean that, Ted Dibiase? I thought he was talking about Ted Homeboy, where I get my shoes shined. Well, first off, Slick, to be fair, Mooney said the $1 Million Man, not Ted Dibiase. How many $1 Million men does Slick know? I guess part of the WWF, maybe a handful. Anyway, the Slickster insisting that nothing's going on, brother. Sure, Slick. We believe you. Dun, dun, dun. The plot thickens here at the Royal Rumble. What really transpired between Slick and the $1 Million Man, Ted Dibiase? We may find out before the end of the pay-per-view, but right now we go back to the ring for the Super Posedown portion of the event. It is Intercontinental Champion, the Ultimate Warrior, taking on ravishing Rick Rude with Bobby Heenan by his side. Now, obviously, no title on the line here in a Posedown, and there's not much really that we can report that led to this match, contest, whatever you want to call it. It was essentially Rick Rude challenging the Warrior to prove who has the better body, so to speak. Now, you might argue this all started just over a year ago when Rick Rude was won the Jesse the Body Award at the 1987 Slammies. Now, many argued then the Ultimate Warrior should have won that right. And tonight, the fans get to vote who they think has the better body. And Rick Rude feeling confident the fans will vote for him. Not sure what planet he's living on, but time will tell. As Mean Gene Okerlund going to be the master of ceremonies here in the ring, so no doubt he's going to get himself over in the process. Mean Gene explaining to the fans that it is they who will decide the winner based on crowd noise. At the end of the day, the two men, Warrior and Rude, take turns posing for the fans while the crowd determines who has the best physique in the WWF. Boy, does that sound fun. I love it, pal. I'm sure you do. Should be noted, Rick Rude brings a flex bar to the ring. He flexes with the warm-up bar in between each of the poses to keep himself pumped up, keeping jacked and looking good. As away we go, the Warrior and Rick Rude in the ring, and the first pose is going to be the double bicep pose. Pretty simple. Rick Rude going first, the Warrior man follows. No surprise here. Warrior wins the fan vote. And if you're looking for peaks in definition, Warrior really did have the first pose won here for those keeping score. Bobby Heenan grabbing the mic from Mean Gene, however, explaining to the fans, hey guys, this isn't a popularity contest. you should be voting for the best body. All right. Thanks, Bobby. Well, we continue on. The second pose is the best abs. Well, I already see where this should go. It's exactly what it sounds like, guys. Rick Rude's abs cut to the max. I doubt anybody on earth had his number in that department, much less the Ultimate Warrior. But again, the Warrior wins. The fans vote here, but if you're keeping score at home, I say Rick Rude had that one won. In all fairness, if I was truly voting, these guys would be tied at this point in the pose down, if you will. Third pose is the most muscular pose, which is one of Hulk Hogan's favorite poses, guys. The pulling the arms out in front of you in almost that bear hug-like position. Rick Rude drawing some heat by working out before the pose until the Ultimate Warrior growling at him, and away we go. And again, the Warrior wins again without even trying. Surprise, surprise there. Ultimate Warrior up 3-0 here in this Super Posedown. I don't know if Rick Rude has an opportunity at this point to gain any favor, but we're going to find out because it is time for the fourth and final pose. Not looking good for Rick Rude, but he offers a medley of poses. Exactly what it sounds like. Rick Rude going to pose in a variety of poses here. And once again, Ravishing Rick going first, showcasing the various poses. Warrior Man going to follow in suit one more time. Honestly, at this point, the Ultimate Warrior just goes through the motions, and the crowd still eating it up as Rick Rude grows tired of the fans and the Warrior's popularity. So Bobby Heenan walking up to the IC champion and squirting him in the eyes with a water bottle. Long enough to distract the Warrior, Rick Rude clobbering UW in the back of the head with the flex bar. And down goes the Ultimate Warrior, Rick Rude beating the Warrior down with a steel bar, proceeding to choke the Warrior out with the bar around his throat in a camel clutch position before a multitude of officials arrive and Rude and the Brain leave the ring with the damage already done. As mentioned, we've got at least a half dozen officials or more out there to check on the Warrior's well-being. He took that shot to the head from the what they're calling a metal bar. Down goes the Warrior. He beaten down and then strangled essentially in a camel clutch style position with the bar around his throat. The Warrior, though, slowly coming to, the officials checking on him, but the Warrior Man doesn't give no fucks. Instead, UW starts throwing Hebners in a Tony Gurria all over the ring. Nick Bockwinkel even in there, taking a nice chop from the Warrior, and Bockwinkel getting kneed out of the ring. Hazard pay, Bach. As the fans go nuts, the Ultimate Warrior starts sprinting backstage to catch up with Rick Rude and Bobby Heenan, no doubt, as the feud begins. So your winner of the Super Posedown, the Ultimate Warrior? I think. We didn't really have a decision there, but the fans seem to love the Warrior no matter what he did out there. Like I said, he was phoning it in by the end. It didn't really matter. The Ultimate Warrior clearly getting the fan vote. Rick Rude had enough. All that popularity contest drama that Bobby Heenan was talking about. Down goes the Warrior to set up the big feud that will continue all the way through the summer of 1989. Spoiler alert, guys. Lots of Warrior and Rude to come here in the project. Well, not my favorite segment of all time. Obviously, a big step up from that Dino Bravo bench press segment from Rumble 88. Even still, this was something that could have been done on TV. But I guess they needed to fill the time on the pay-per-view. And as a kid going in, I thought this match, if you will, this contest seemed pointless when they could have just wrestled a match. Why aren't they wrestling? Why aren't they in the Rumble match? I used to say all the time as a kid, but little did I realize this was merely a setup to be an angle to lead to a feud that would not only continue throughout most of this year, but be rekindled the following year in 1990 as well. Fun angle for what it was, involving two men working their way up the card. Semi-main eventers, I guess you could call them right now. The Warrior and Rick Rude. More to come from them in the weeks to come. Anywho, we go backstage on the live version of this event. We see Mean Gene attempting to interview Rick Rude and Bobby Heenan as they attempt to escape the Ultimate Warrior. Rick Rude cutting a quick promo while Bobby Heenan looking around, very paranoid of where the Warrior could be. And they cut the interview short and take off into the locker room as they feel the Warrior is on his way. So kind of fun there. It's not in the Peacock version or the videos that have been distributed over the years, but it is part of the live version. So it's fun to go check out if you have that version. And right now, as we get ready for our next contest, we go backstage against some pre-recorded comments from some of the managers who have wrestlers involved in the big event tonight, talking about Mr. Fuji, Jimmy Hart, and the lovely Elizabeth.
In just a little while, the Royal Rumble, you'll see the Paws of Pain, the Barbarian, and the Warlord, the two lodges in the Royal Rumble. And let me tell you, I feel sorry for you, Demolition, Accent Smash, because you'll be our number one victims. And let me tell you, there will be only one winner. And you happen to be looking at the winner, Master Fuji.
All right, as we continue to talk to the manager of the Mega Powers. She is the First Lady of Wrestling, the lovely Elizabeth. Who are you going to be rooting for in the Royal Rumble?
Well, I'll be cheering for both of them.
Hulk Hogan, and of course the Macho Man, Randy Savage, the undisputed World Wrestling Federation champion.
That's right.
You know, I'm very curious. During the course of the competition, Elizabeth, hypothetically, it's very possible that Hulk Hogan could be matched up against the Macho Man. Then who would you root for?
Gene, I've been trying not to think about that.
Well, wait a minute. You've got to root for one or the other, don't you?
I hope it doesn't come down to that.
All right, apparently we're not going to get a clear-cut statement or answer on that one. As we continue to talk to the managers, here's Jimmy Hart.
Wow, what a way to start the year, baby, with the Royal Rumble. That's right, man. Double trouble. Greg the Hammer Valentine, master of that figure four leg lock, along with a man who can sing, he can dance, he can do it all, baby. That's right. The man himself, the honky-tonk man, Mr. Shake, Rattle, and Roll. Together, I call him Double Trouble. Whatever it takes to win, baby, you can bank on it. We're going to do it. The honky-tonk man, Greg the Hammer Valentine, like we said before, baby, when you mess with a bull, you might get the horn.
All right, the managers, you heard a few of them right there talking about their men in the Rumble match tonight. Generic interviews from Mr. Fuji, Jimmy Hart. Fuji says whether Warlord or Barbarian wins it, Fuji will be the true winner. Meanwhile, Jimmy Hart putting over his Double Trouble, baby. Whether it's the Honky Tonk Man or Greg the Hammer Valentine, either man could go all the way here in the Royal Rumble. And then, sandwiched in between those promos, Mean Gene Okerlund standing by with Miss Elizabeth. As Gene wants to know, hey Liz, what if it comes down to the Macho Man and Hulk Hogan? Who would Liz be backing? Asking the tough questions there. We cut off because Mean Gene says if you want to find out the answer, you gotta, call the hotline. Not really, but it would have been a perfect opportunity had this been 1990s WCW. Instead, Gene, though, asking Liz, who would she back, the Macho Man or Hulk Hogan if it comes down to those two? Elizabeth escaping the question, hoping it doesn't come to that. Another play on a big what-if scenario for later tonight, getting the fans pumped for that. As we head back into the arena, we've got another match in place before the big Royal Rumble matchup, and it's Jesse Ventura sitting upon the throne of the king. The body says, I could get used to this. Well, you're going to have to fight Haku for it, Jess. And in fact, so will Harley Race. Jesse putting over the Battle for the Crown match, which is up next. King Haku going to take on Harley Race for the rights to the throne. Bobby Heenan no longer hiding from the Warrior at this point. Instead, the brain back in the ring for the introductions of the King and the former King. Now, the backstory here, after Harley Race received a legit internal injury during a matchup with Hulk Hogan at Saturday night's main event just prior to WrestleMania 4, Race was forced to have surgery after participating in the Battle Royal at the pay-per-view. Harley, having at least 18 inches of his intestines removed, sat out for nearly 7 months, returning in the fall, right around Survivor Series time. And he hasn't worked a whole lot on the house shows in between. But during his time away, during Harley's downtime, Bobby Heenan had a ceremony back in the late spring, early summer, where he basically acted as if Harley Race had died. He even had the bell tolled for Harley's retirement, if you will, as Race apparently and unknowingly was abdicating his throne. Haku was crowned the new king of the WWF. Only one problem, Bobby. Race wasn't dead or retired. Harley returned in the fall of '88 claiming to be king. The crown emblem still on the back of his tights. That would lead here to this matchup. Two Heenan family members, sort of. The two battling over the crown, with the winner getting to be the only true king of the World Wrestling Federation. It is indeed the battle for the crown. King Haku battling the former king, Harley Race, as King Haku carried out first on a royal sedan, carried by Texas jobber extraordinaires. I see Tug Taylor, Dusty Wolf, Omar Atlas, and more. And for whatever reason, the Job Squad dressed in their wrestling gear as they carry the king to the ring. Bobby Heenan seems to be backing Haku here, though he's supposed to be in a neutral corner. Harley Race out next, and just as Haku's sedan is propped on the ring apron and the guardrail, Race storming over and tipping the sedan over, causing Haku to take a bump to the floor. As the crowd pops, as did I. What a spot to get things going. Harley Race not fucking around, dumping the entire sedan over, Haku included, taking a bump there to the ringside floor. And Race going right to work on the new King Haku, battling him inside and outside the ring. Harley Race even landing a vertical suplex, which was once the finisher of the former NWA World Champion, but it only gets 2 here. Haku taking over momentarily after driving Race into the steel post, but the battle goes back and forth. Some solid physical shots being laid on by both guys. Boy, are they working snug here tonight. Harley Race tries to take one of his signature backward bumps out of the ring, but hits the corner a little wonky, falls out of the ring kind of in slow motion, still upside down backwards. Got to give Harley A for effort there. Nobody really playing the babyface here, but Harley Race is put in the position of being cheered by the fans. Kinda. Bobby Heenan strategically standing in that neutral corner, cheering on Haku when he's in control, and backing Harley when he's on the offense. Classic brain, guys. The two men going to trade headbutts, and boy, do they ever. Haku delivering a specifically stiff one. Nasty headbutt there from Haku, but Harley Race responds with a stiff clothesline and a pile driver on Haku. Going to give Harley a 2 count once again. The two men end up knocking heads at one point, and Harley Race spilling through the ropes out to the floor, but Haku bringing him back in with a suplex, which gets him a 2 count. A few more covers than I would expect in this match. Both guys really want to be the king, and everything they're doing in that ring looks great. Nice and snug, guys. If you're into those kind of matches, this is one of those kind of matches. Harley Race landing a second vertical suplex for yet another 2 count. Harley then pitching Haku out to the floor, going to try to pile drive Haku on the outside. Luckily, the king counters with a backdrop. That was close. Jesse Ventura speculating, what if both men were counted out? Would Bobby Heenan then declare himself the king? That would have been tremendous. And after an extended brawl on the floor, Harley Race finally landing the pile driver on Haku on the outside, the arena floor. Haku eating a pile driver outside, but the hard-headed Tongan barely selling it before he's already back in the ring. Shame on both of you guys wasting a move like that. Just using it as a typical spot in a match, if you will. But a hell of a sight to see back in 1989. And with both guys back in the ring, Harley Race planting Haku with a neck breaker, getting yet another 2 count. Haku comes battling back, but misses a diving headbutt. Really shook up now is the current king. Harley Race going up, and he too missing his patented diving headbutt. Both men down as Bobby Heenan shouts, "We got him!" To which the announcers want to know, who's he talking about? Again, both guys down on the mat, both men missing diving headbutts. Bobby Heenan, "We got him!" Again, classic brain. As we go into the finish, Harley Race sending Haku off the ropes. Haku ducking a clothesline, and as Race turns around, he runs right into the Haku thrust kick. Right in the chin. Down goes Harley Race, the king, wrapping Race up and getting the win. 9 minutes and 1 second with that pended side thrust kick from Haku. Gets it every time. Your winner and still king, King Haku. This match really doesn't get the credit it deserves, I personally feel anyway. It was removed from the WWF videotape, the original VHS Coliseum video release. Luckily for me, my brother's neighbor taped the pay-per-view, and it wasn't long before I got to see the matchup. But unfortunately, it was removed from the tape. Somehow, inexplicably, the Rockin Robin match remained intact. Go figure. But the match itself, just an all-out brawl between two of the legit toughest guys to ever grace the squared circle. This type of match may not have been for everyone, but these guys worked snug and left it all in the ring. The crowd was alive during the start when Race dumped the sedan over, but after that, the fans slowly started to grow more and more quiet as the match progressed. I think they just wanted to get to the Rumble match. Bobby Heenan leaving with Haku, no surprise there, and this would wind up being Harley Race's final match in the WWF. Harley does the right thing, puts over the new king on the way out of the company, as both these guys much better at playing heels, and while the match was solid, it lacked that sizzle you kind of need here in the WWF, but I thought it was fine for what it was. Again, I use that term snug as a way to describe this one. If you just want to see two guys go out there and lay it in, this was that. And I certainly enjoyed it. And a true shout out to Harley Race for putting this together so shortly after such a dangerous procedure that he had done, especially back in the late 1980s. I can only imagine. All right, guys, we're getting ready to wrap up this week's review of Royal Rumble 89. We'll be back next week with the other half of the pay-per-view. But before we get there, I'm going to leave you with some fun interviews with several of the superstars competing in the Royal Rumble match. Let the hype begin.
Everybody's got something exciting to say, Jess. This is the big event. It's going to be something else. It's a rumble. Here they come.
Mr. Barber, he always carries the tools of his trade. Well, in this case, the Royal Rumble, baby. I've got the only tools I need right here. These two fists is just what I need to make my way through all those wrestlers, through all those men, to make my way to the top. So that I am the last man to survive. The sole survivor, the last man. That's what it's all about. There's not going to be anyone in there who's going to be watching my back. It's me against everyone else. That's right, baby. And the tools I need are right here on the end of these two meat slabs, baby. So the rest of you boys, you better beware, because maybe I might have a pair of scissors in my shoe somewhere, and I might still do a little bit of strutting and a little bit of cutting when I'm done.
30 top stars from the World Wrestling Federation, and I'm one of them. And I also know, I've been around the World Wrestling Federation for a long, long time, and I know I can't trust anybody. I've had a lot of partners in the past, and I know that for a fact I cannot trust anybody but myself, and I'm talking about Jimmy Hart too. And I'm also talking about the honky-tonk man. If I have to fight him, I will do that. A Royal Rumble, 30 top stars of the World Wrestling Federation. And the winner is going to be, as far as I'm concerned, Greg the Hammer Valentine. I don't need to bring anything in like an axe or a scissors. All I need is my two bare fists. That's how I got the name, The Hammer. That's how I became the legend, Greg the Hammer Valentine, an individualist only caring about himself, and I'm going all the way to the top to be the winner.
Okay, look at my paws of pain. Show how much endurance they get. They ran 20 miles around Houston in less than 1 hour. They just did 1,000 push-ups. And look how big they are. Look at their arms, their chest, their thighs. Anybody in the Royal Rumble, beware, especially you guys, the Demolition, because the Royal Rumble is coming in. And because what happened, if they should face each other in a match, let me tell you, there only will be one winner. And the winner will be me. Master Fuji will be the big winner. I will take home everything. Me the winner.
It's been a long time since I've stepped over the top rope in a wrestling ring, but in a few short minutes, you're going to find out whether the 2 years of hard lifting, the 2 years of hard training paid off. Well, things have changed for John Studd in the World Wrestling Federation. One thing's for certain, Heenan will not be in my corner. Another thing for certain, when I step over that top rope, I don't know who my friends are, and I don't know who my enemies are. But I know one thing, I'm going to give it everything I have. And when the smoke clears and it comes down to one man, it will be John Studd.
1989, a brand new year, and Mr. Perfect is declaring this the year of perfection. And I could think of no other way to prove to the wrestling world, all over the world, that I am Mr. Perfect. The Royal Rumble, 30 of the World Wrestling Federation superstars could all be in the ring at the same time. And you've got tall men, and you've got short men, and you've got perfect-sized men. So what I'm going to do is tip the big man over, throw the little man out, and Mr. Perfect will stand and remain the #1 man in the World Wrestling Federation. See, I have no friends. I'm not looking for any friends. And when it's all said and done, Mr. Perfect is where it's at. So whether you like it or don't like it, it's the way it is.
Freak out, freak out. Ooh, yeah. Zillions of people all around the world are going to be watching, yeah. And at the summit in Houston, Texas, it's the Royal Rumble, yeah. 30 big-time wrestlers, yeah, with reputations to match. No partners, every man for himself, yeah. I'm on top of the mountain and I feel like I'm alone now, yeah. And I'm warning each and every person that comes into the squared circle that I am the World Wrestling Federation champion, yeah. And I'm used to being number one. And macho madness will be felt in the summit in Houston, Texas, and all around the world. Zillions of people will witness, yeah. And the people that come into the ring will feel the pain, yeah. They'll feel the intensity of the Macho Man Randy Savage. Because I didn't become the World Wrestling Federation champion by, letting big-time things slide by. I'm the champion now, and I'm going to be the champion of the Royal Rumble. Ooh, yeah.
Brutus Beefcake, as you heard, goes on far too long, repeating himself over and over the promo, like his blue background here, just plain generic. We also heard from Greg the Hammer Valentine, who only cares about himself. Everyone better watch out in the Royal Rumble, including the Honky Tonk Man. We're also treated to our second Mr. Fuji promo. Somebody did something right. This time, he's with his powers of pain, Fuji warning Demolition, but also reiterating that Master Fuji will be the true winner tonight. Take all the money. Very good, boy-san. Well, if you take all the money, Fuji, why do the powers of pain work for you if they don't get paid? Just saying. We also hear from the bloated Big John Studd, who makes it clear that Bobby Heenan won't be in his corner here tonight. Studd doesn't know who he can trust in the Royal Rumble, but he plans to win it all. Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig, claims this year the year of perfection. Hennig says he will tip the big men over, throw the little guys out, and notes that he's the perfect size to win the Royal Rumble. And apparently Macho Madness will be felt here tonight as the WWF champion Randy Savage says he's going to be the champion of the Royal Rumble as well. Wow, fun little teaser for next week's edition of The Grenade. It will be all about the 30-man extravaganza, and with any luck, maybe I'll have a co-host here to discuss a little more deep the Royal Rumble event, specifically the big 30-man extravaganza, the big 30-man encounter, all the stories going in, all the stories coming out of the Royal Rumble right here next week on The Grenade. Want to thank everybody for listening. Again, thank you also this past weekend for all the birthday wishes. Meant a lot to hear from so many of you. For those of you who want to do the Royal Rumble 89 in video form, coming to the big ones here in the next several days, it will be Royal Rumble 89, the video cast, as part of the Big One series over at the ultimate tier of patreon.com/WrestleCopia. We recently covered the Ken Patera story in one of our latest Coliseum video casts. Dan Gennety's putting together more videos for the Puroresu Academy video cast. And speaking of the ultimate tier, we've been really hammering out those Regional Wrestling Unreeled video series. Credit to Jamie Ward. Already pumped out 9 episodes alongside Jamie, and with Mr. Ward on hiatus, taking a vacation, Gene Jackson stepped in this week. New Regional Wrestling Unreeled dropped at the beginning of this week, featuring Loser Leaves Town, Jerry the King Lawler versus the Macho Man Randy Savage from June 3rd, 1985 in the Memphis territory. History was made as the Macho Man off to the World Wrestling Federation. So many great things going on. Encourage everybody to stop over to patreon.com/WrestleCopia, a tier for everyone. Whatever your financial situation, if you love WrestleCopia, you love what we do, give it a try, see what all we offer there. And don't forget to stop over to WrestleCopia.com. Check out all of the great podcasts from Gene Jackson's Retro Review, Bob Smith Outdated Wrestling Hour, Dave Dynasty's Wrestling Nostalgia, The Crew from the Other Ship, yes, Regional Wrestling, The Wrestling Stoop with Bob Roop, of course, The Grenade. You can go listen to back episodes of The Grenade. You can find all of those shows here on the WrestleCopia Podcast Network and across all of your favorite podcast streaming platforms. But for now, we're going to say goodbye. When we return, it'll be all about the 30-man event, the big one, the main event of Royal Rumble 1989, Demolition, Brainbusters, Rockers, Twin Towers, Mega Powers. So many big tag teams involved there. Of course, Big John Studd and Rick Martel making their return. Don't Will Jake the Snake Roberts get his hands on Andre the Giant, or will it be the other way around? All of that and so much more right here next week on the show. And with any luck, try to find us a co-host to dig a little deeper into our memories. But again, that all comes down to our schedules. So we'll see if we can make it happen. If not, we've got some ideas. We've got some plans for some upcoming episodes here. So stay tuned for that. But for right now, this is Ray Russell saying from pillar to post and coast to coast. You pull the pin and I'll pick up the pieces right here on the Wrestling Memory Grenade. I'll see you next week. Royal Rumble 89, baby. Here we come. Don't miss it. Be there.
1989, a brand new year, and Mr. Perfect is declaring this the year of perfection. And I could think of no other way to prove to the wrestling world that I am Mr. Perfect, the Royal Rumble, 30 of the World Wrestling Federation superstars. So what I'm gonna do is tip the big man over, throw the little man out, and when it's all said and done, Mr. Perfect is where it's at. So whether you like it or don't like it, it's the way it is.
Freak out, freak out. Oh, yeah. Zillions of people all around the world are going to be watching. It's the Royal Rumble. Yeah. 30 big-time wrestlers. Yeah. With reputations to match. And I'm warning each and every person that comes into the squared circle that I am the World Wrestling Federation champion. Yeah. And macho madness will be felt in the summit in Houston, Texas, and all around the world. I'm the champion now, and I'm going to be the champion of the Royal Rumble. Oh, yeah.